Okay. Whoever got the most ratchets is in power. I'd rather get sent packages than send flowers. I can't understand how the game allow it. Nigga that'll pop and tail's a dangerous coward. Fuck it, if we gotta go to war and get shells. If anybody happen to get caught, pick 12. Some niggas will look at their royalties and faint. Money always gonna be here, but the loyalty ain't. I dives on the quarter, high rise on the water. People tell me I got the same eyes as my daughter. They expecting the hard shit, you give them a slow jam. My man lost his date cause he didn't want a program. Niggas keep it up, everybody gon' suffer though. I got a revolver that'll knock down a buffalo. Switch from the denim with the zippers to the buttons though. NYC without me is nothing no. In a minute it should be back here, and I'll be in the front and y'all'll be right back there. Like if G Money never showed Nino the crack, probably never would've been a new city to jack. Now say this to say that, what's up? Situate properly, cause either you getting buried or putting up your property.
Oh man, good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you're at in the world. Thank you for spending a little bit of time with me. Welcome to my house, welcome to my couch, welcome to my domain, welcome to my shit. You are tuned in to the Intellectual Property Podcast, season 2, episode 10. This is a really important episode because last season, which was our first season, we actually only went to episode 10. And we had a lot of difficulties last season on how we was going to do it, where we were going to do it at, who we were going to do it with. And then God spoke, and so we just got up and did it ourselves. Fresh off the couch, no help, no encouragement, no advice, no guest appearances. We just did it. So here we are, a whole season later, episode 10. Last season we ended it on 10. This is season 2, and we're doing 20 episodes. So this is only the halfway point. So we just I'm just really thankful to God, to God for you guys out there, because you guys made me who I am, and I love you guys for being with me every day and being along with me on this journey. I'm just happy to be a part of this show, man. I'm glad to see where it's headed, where it's gone to, the heights, the new heights that it'll soon reach. So once again, an Intellectual Property Podcast, episode 10, season 2. I'm your always humble, always gracious host, Reggie the CEO. You know what we do here. We laugh, we cry, we pop shit for sure. We fight, we make up, we do everything within our power, to make sure we put the crown where it's supposed to be. I'm here to make history, so let's get started. I really missed you guys, man. I was gone for a second, man. And I just really missed you guys. You know what I mean? It was rough being without you guys, but we're back. We're not going to dwell on that. We're here to make history, so let's go. I just want to, again, I already said I'm thankful to God for this opportunity, man. Messiah. Sorry about that, man. This is so unsolicited, unfiltered. We don't go to commercials here, man. We handle technical difficulties on the spot. So like I was saying, episode 10, you know what we do. We go all out. We go out of our way. We do everything we can do, and we can possibly do to put the crown where it's supposed to be. Like I said, I already said I'm thankful to God for this opportunity. Listen, if you wrong somebody, apologize immediately, because it means a lot to them. It means a lot to them. And when you do that, they say healthy change begins with confession and repentance. And then they also say that our character is proven by our actions. So just making those nobody's perfect. We all have transgressions, but making sure if you step on somebody's toes, that you apologize immediately, man. It means a lot. You know what I mean? And it says a lot about you. It says a whole lot about who you are as a person, man. To start off, man, I almost didn't make it here to this show to do episode 10, man. We had like I said, I've been gone for a minute. I know you guys noticed my absence, man. For one, we had some really rough weather around here, which made it kind of hard to get around and hard to maneuver. A lot of us were without power. Shout out to the people that's still without power, man. We hope you get your power turned on really fast. I know I was down for a couple of days, so it really wasn't the same. But I felt like, you know, um, it was a historical storm, but really I think it was for me. I slept like a baby. I relaxed. I really relaxed to it. I think that it's relevant. It's indicative of the times. It's a historical storm that knocked out power and disrupted lives and affected people's homes and stuff like that. Because I think that the man up top was trying to say something, and I think every so often he has to throw something our way to make us slow down. You know what I mean? And I think that was just one of those days. Like I said, it was really peaceful for me during that time. I know a lot of people across the region, the Northwest region, didn't have a peaceful time. The West Coast in general, because the weather was bad all up and down the coast. But we had this thing up here called a bomb cyclone, where shit just goes crazy and windy over land. We have a few of them every year. Not this bad. It was pretty crazy, man. But I won't dwell on that. I will say it was historical storms, historical times, but I'm glad that everybody's back on their feet and everybody's doing well, because, like I said, it was a peaceful thing for me, but it was not peaceful to a lot of other people. Moving on, man. Hey, listen, man. If you're feeling overwhelmed, reach out and talk to somebody, and reach out, say something, and reach out, because it's the only thing to do. The only stupid thing to say or not say is the only stupid thing you can say is the thing you don't say, right? The only stupid question you can ask is the question you don't ask. To understand, to get better understanding on whatever it is, whatever it is you need understanding with, whatever zone you're in. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, man, don't ever hesitate to talk to somebody, man, because 9 times out of 10, somebody's feeling just as overwhelmed as you. We all think our problems are the biggest problems in the world, but believe me, they're not. It could always get worse. Me and my son, Kez, the CEO, was just talking about that. So like I said, man, if you're feeling away, man, reach out, man. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Man, it's only two. We'll focus on college football for a second. Miami is no longer undefeated. They lost to Georgia Tech 28-23. It was a good game, man, but Georgia Tech just played through the whistle. And I think the fact that Miami was undefeated made Georgia Tech come in there and play a little bit harder. That's the thing and we talk about this all the time here on the show and in my personal life too, and amongst football purists, that when you got a record, when you're known for being great, when you're known for doing big things, when you got a record that's unblemished or barely touched, it doesn't matter who you come up against on that given day or that given week. They're going to play their hardest, because everybody wants to beat the unbeaten. Everybody wants to attach their name to the people that can't be beat. And so that's just what Georgia Tech did, and what they ended up doing is playing hard, playing through the whistle. They relied on each other, and they outplayed Miami. This game came down to who wanted it more, and Georgia Tech just wanted it more. Even though their season's pretty much wrapped up, I think it meant more to them to dismantle or start the beginning process of the unravel of Miami's season than to salvage theirs. So it was a twofold win for them. You know what I mean? Because they beat Miami, which is which is a rival of theirs, being the close proximity to where these colleges are located. And secondly, they beat a team that was 10. And they beat a team that was undefeated. So shout out to Georgia Tech, because they won. BYU also lost; they're no longer undefeated, which leaves my undefeated as Oregon and Army. Well, not my undefeated, but the only undefeated teams are Oregon and Army. I could go down a list of people who are still really good but have one loss. But you guys know how I get down. I fucks with the undefeateds, man. I don't focus on cats who lose, man. And that's not to say that these teams that got one loss, they're still pretty good, right? They still control their own destiny in the college football playoff series. But I'm just talking about as of right now. And of course, there's a lot of good teams left. But I would be a clown if I didn't give a shout out to the two teams left undefeated in Division I football, and that's Army and Oregon. We could talk about it. It's a rabbit hole. We could go down all day about who's the best team, even though they got one loss, yada yada yada. But we're focusing on winners today, so we're not doing that. That's another episode. That's another topic for another episode. right now. Shout out to Oregon and Army, the only two undefeated teams left, the only two unblemished records left, um, the only two teams who, no matter what they came up against, they said, "Fuck that, we're gonna pull it out," and they've been doing that all year. So I take my hat off to those guys. Moving on to entertainment news, Denzel Washington says Black Panther 3. You guys might be familiar with the Black Panther 1 and 2 with Chad Boswick, and 2 with I can't remember the young lady's name, but it was equally as good. And it had my guy Michael B. Jordan in it. But you might be familiar with not only the comics but with the series. Well, Denzel says he's gonna star in Black Panther 3, and it's gonna be one of his last films before retiring. I don't know what to think about this, man. I can just really say, oh my gosh, man, where do I start? Denzel Washington has been such a part of the black experience, the culture, movies in general, but really to the culture. You know what I mean? He means a lot to the culture, and it's almost too much to bear to hear him say that he's gonna walk away. So it's gonna be crazy. His list of movies and awards and accomplishments is so distinguished, man. I don't even know what to say. But luckily for us, Black Panther 3 is not slated to come out for about 2 or so years, so we know he's not going anywhere. Denzel's not going anywhere anytime soon. So hopefully we can expect some good work from him as of right now and in the near future. Matter of fact, shout out to him for the I didn't see Gladiator 2. I haven't seen it yet. I'll probably see it because he's in it, not because I really like the movie. I like Gladiator 1. But I felt like when you start trying to force the sequel, it always gets a little shaky. But Denzel's in it. I hear that it's a good movie. I'll see it eventually. But shout out to Denzel for everything that he's given us. I hope that he don't retire too soon. In political news, we got a new commander in chief. We talked about all that. We talked about new president and all that. Veteran rapper Uncle Luke from 2 Live Crew. Slams Latinos who voted for Donald Trump, saying you guys are stupid, you guys are going to get deported, things of that nature. He said a few more things, but that's inflammatory enough, so I'll leave it right there for all my Latino partners and my Spanish partners out there. But here's the thing. The NBC News exit polls say that Trump had 45% of the Latino vote, while Kamala had the other 51. I'm not big on knocking people for their political views. I mean, it's a personal choice. But I will say that I will say this, and I'm going to circle back around, and we're going to move on. I'm going to say it real fast. It's going to step up. It's going to suck. It's going to sound sucky, but. It is what it is. It's my show. It's my shit. I'm standing on it. I'm used to standing alone. You don't like it, holler at me. You guys know where I be at all the time. So, especially on the West Coast. And this is what I heard. This is not really even what I've seen. I've seen traces of it, but this hasn't been true in my life. Blacks and Latinos, blacks and Mexicans in generally out here don't really get along like that. Again, it's not something that's played out in my life because I grew up with a lot of Mexican partners, and they was some of the coolest motherfuckers in the world. In fact, our cultures are a lot alike. The food we eat, having big families, having some of the things we go through in this country, some of the things we've been through in this country. But overall, the black and Mexican cultures kind of don't mix like that. I moved out here from Ohio when I was 10, and immediately started out meeting Mexicans, having Mexican homeboys, my Mexican homegirls, had a couple Mexican girlfriends, so I grew up steeped in the culture, but I never knew this was a dynamic. My homeboys used to say that, and then some of my Mexican homeboys used to kind of whisper it around me like, nah, we don't mess with them guys, we don't mess with your homeboys, but you cool. So I never really got it because this never showed itself in my life. But to be surprised, and I think places back east like Miami and the Spanish and the black culture mix a little bit better, because I think they go through some of the same more similar hardships as opposed to I think maybe it's really the same. I think what happens is as you go east, black and brown people see their similarities instead of their differences. I think they're a lot more evolved as far as black and brown relations back east than they are here, and I think because it's the same dynamic. It's the same dichotomy. It's just I think that we're so busy with our, I think black and brown faces, and not just black and brown, but we're talking about black and brown. I think black and brown faces out here out west, the further you come west, just haven't figured it out yet that they're getting kicked in the ass the same way. So there's still a thing there. So that's the first thing I'm going to say about Latinos and Mexicans not voting for or not voting for Kamala, but voting in such big numbers for Trump. So that's the first thing I'm gonna say about it. And secondly, I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna end it. I think a lot of people, and I don't want to generalize any culture, but when you see this, I think a lot of this has to do with um, Latino voters and people of Latino descent, Spanish descent, Mexican descent. I think I think you're not really sure of who to vote for. You know what I mean? And I think, and I said this before, and I'll say it again. And I think it's that colonist mentality. It's that scared mentality. It's that ignorant mentality. And I think it's when you get scared and when you don't know what to do or who to trust, you tend to adopt the thinking of your oppressor. Because you deem that the person that's keeping his foot on your neck is the only one who can dangle hope in front of you. He's the only one who can give you hope because subsequently he's the one keeping you down. And I think that's just the way that our nation thinks. You know what I mean? I think that I think if we wake up and we start to really look, there's really a good old boy network that's really a small percentage of anything. You know what I mean? I mean they have the majority of the wealth, but they're a small percentage of the people. But I think that they wield that like a strong sword over our heads, and being scared and being unsure and being uncertain of where we're going to do and where we're going to go. We tend to bend and fold to how they want us to be. So I think a lot of Latinos voting for, and I'm not mad at that. It's a personal choice, man. America voted, man. You can't come after cats like, well, why you do that? Because there's always you can say so many different things on why the presidential election turned out the way. You can say that Biden started off too late. You can say, Biden dropped out of the race too late. 70 some odd days, 80 some odd days didn't give, may not have given their party enough time to rally the troops, so to speak. Shit, you can blame it. You can blame it on chicks twerking at the inaugural, chicks twerking, on stage with Kamala Harris. You can blame it on a lot of different things, but I think at the end of the day, you have to just say that America voted, and this is where it goes. So, I think I can definitely understand where Uncle Luke is coming from, man. But I think we got to slow down when we start to point the finger at who's stupid and who and why and where. Because I think that's subjective. So I think we got to be careful with that, because if we start saying stuff like that and we start doing stuff like that, now we're feeding into the same divisiveness and the same name calling of the people that we're tired of seeing it from. You know what I mean? So I think it just kind of defeats the purpose. It kind of negates itself. Anyway, moving on, man. In China, there was 35 people killed outside a sports stadium in China. Apparently, a man was upset by his divorce settlement. He took to his car. It was already a sporting event with a lot of people. He runs his car through a crowd of 35 people, killing them on impact. The, this guy shall remain nameless in my world. He's a sucker. He's a clown. He killed 35 people. Our hearts go out to the families of these 35 people killed. And nobody deserves this. You know what I mean? I think this has a lot to do with jilted love and mental health. I think they go hand in hand sometimes. But it just nobody deserves to be at a racetrack or a sports stadium or wherever they were, and go through this kind of shit. This is corny. I hope that I hope and I hate to say this, but I'm gonna say it. But I hope that this is so heinous. I hope that all the bad things in the world happen to him. And I know that's not the Christian thing to say. That's not even a nice thing to say, but that's how I'm feeling right now. Usually I try to be as objective as I can in this seat, you know what I mean, because it's mine. But at the same time, I always tell the truth when I'm sitting here too. Nothing that comes out of my mouth is a lie. So at this point, I hope that all the bad things in the world happen to him. He's a clown. Anyway, moving on. More political news. First Korean American to occupy the U.S. senator seat. His name is. Oh my goodness! Don't. It's so bad. So I took such bad notes. His name is. I'm not moving on until I find it. His name is Andy Kim, and I believe he's from New Jersey. I was about to. I took terrible notes. Like I said, I've been on a mental vacation, having a ball, man, and getting some good rest and relaxation. So I took terrible notes. I actually always take terrible notes, but I can usually read them. I stumble sometimes, but it's all good. We keep it rolling. We don't go to commercial breaks here, man. You know how we do at the Intellectual Property Podcast, man. No commercials, man. We do this straight off the rip. So, continuing on, I think this senator is from New Jersey. I'm not sure. Um, if not, again, I did terrible notes. His name is Andy Kim. He has ties in New Jersey. I'm not sure, again, if he's out of New Jersey, but he's the first Korean senator in U.S. history, and I think this is awesome. Um, this shows this kind of widens and evens the playing field every time we get a new race, a new culture. Um, in a seat like that, I think it expands the playing field. It widens the playing field. It forces us to think bigger and think wider and work together in more various ways and you know and combine cultural ideologies and I think the melding of all of this just helps us get better. Just helps us get better. And I love this, man. Like I said, it's really been a big year, um, gender wise. Um, it's been a big year for different things. You know what I mean? Um, what did I say? Yeah, among color lines and gender lines, it's been a big year. Like I said, we talk about it all the time. Ladies was seeing more women be presidents and CEOs of things that should have already had them as presidents and CEOs, and just seeing them getting a bigger slice of the pie is awesome. You also got black people doing, black people and people of color in general doing things and being CEOs in places where they belong, in places where they should have been there, permeating those fields. And so it's been good. And I think this is just having the first Korean American U.S. senator is just another way of saying things are changing slowly but surely. And it also just widens it widens the playing field. That's my biggest. I had two big takeaways from this. This is awesome because it's like I said, it's just a new thing. It's a new viewpoint, a new cultural ideology. You know what I'm saying? Another set of eyes to look at these issues. So I'm hype about that. But you know what this also did? When I was upon reading further and thinking about the history of the Asian continent and the American continent, and him being the first Asian Korean Americans. I'm sure he's not the first Asian American, but he's the first Korean American. I think that shows. I think that spotlights rather. I don't know if it shows, but I think it spotlights the historic amount of distrust between the U.S. government and the Asian population. The Asian continent itself, if you think back to intern camps, if you think back to being slaves and doing the railroads, you think about all these different things. And I'm not sure that being slaves and building the railroads actually go together. I said that, but I'm not sure that's even a fact, so don't quote me on that. But I just know that people of Asian descent have been through a lot. You know what I mean? They've been through a lot. People of Asian descent, Pacific Islanders, a lot of people that are not from Asia but are of Asian descent, whether their culture is mixed at some point, or they look Asian, or just people of color, man. I think this being the first Korean American, to be to have a seat, to be a U.S. senator, and I said that because there's been a lot of really noteworthy Korean people, Korean activists, Korean leaders, Korean people of change before this guy, and so I just think it's awesome. You know what I mean? Moving on, man. Local news, man. This is a camp. It's a camp called Camp Long. It's actually a campground that I went to when I was younger. The kids in the community centers and all the schools, the middle schools, elementary schools, they take the kids there. They stay overnight. My kids, I think, out of 7 kids, I think at least 4 of my kids stayed at that camp. I stayed there, had some incredible memories. It's in a place called West Seattle. It's in a spot. It's in West Seattle. It's just a really historic place. Well, it recently caught on fire. They called it arson. It belongs to the city, so the city's not sure they're going to rebuild it. This is not really newsworthy unless you're a hood nigga, unless you're from the town, unless you're from Seattle, unless you've been there, unless you got some. And if you're from Seattle, you know somebody who stayed there or you stayed there, especially if you was a kid, because like I said, for the last 20, 30 years, they've always taken kids there, and I'm assuming it was there before that because it's been there since like 70 something. Um, but this is a real historical place. It's called Camp Long. I think they have a fund. It belongs to the city. They're not sure they're going to rebuild it, but I think they started a fund um, to try to raise money to see if it's worth saving. Um, like I said, man, I got a lot of good memories here. I hope that they save this place, man, because um, I did a lot of firsts there. A lot of smooching, with girls, and of course, you're young, campfires, and sneaking into other people's cabins. It's just a lot of, and this wasn't. It's in a rural part of West Seattle, but it's really not. It's just a lot of trees around, a lot of forest. It's a lot of greenery around it, but so it gives you a good feel of what being in a cabin like, what being in a cabin like, what going camping is like, and this offers an opportunity to experience that for a lot of kids who a lot of urban kids, a lot of inner city kids who would never get out to the rural parts, to the sticks, to actually go camping. So this is a great place, man. I hope they decide to save it and build it, man, because it really is a great place, man. I really love Camp Long, man. Shout out to Camp Long. Um, Last but not least, man, let's get to what we really want to talk about, the NFL, man. We just had week 11. Um, the Dolphins beat the Raiders 34-19. Um, the whole fact was here, man, the Raiders had no offense at all. And the Dolphins had too much offense. What surprises me about the Dolphins, man? They're really hyped. And I talked about Tua. Tua Tagovailoa, and he's back. From the he's been back for a week or two now. But this team, this Miami Dolphins team, they're really playing like it's not over. They're playing like fuck what you guys is talking about. Fuck everything that happened. Fuck the concussion. We're gonna be there in the end. Like they playing like he never left. But my concern for these guys is that it may be too little, too late. I said that before when he first got hurt. And when they brought those two bum ass quarterbacks in that did nothing for that organization, and they actually still ended up getting a win. I don't know how that happened because those two quarterbacks were absolutely horrid. But I gotta say, man, these guys look really good, and they're a better team than the Raiders. They were supposed to win this game. Their quarterback is back, and they believe. They've put up numbers for 3 straight weeks now since he's been back. They haven't missed a beat. I'm gonna be really surprised to see what they do, and if they can go a fair amount of games, if they can win a fair stretch of games, they're gonna make some people mad in the long run. The next game is the Eagles versus the Commanders. The Eagles beat the Commanders 26-18. This is a good game, man. They just stumbled. The Commanders just stumbled. It was a slow game. It was a defensive. It was a defensive. It was a defensive game. I really like the Eagles defense better than the Commanders defense, which usually the Commanders defense is really good week in and week out. But this week they played a little bit. The Washington Commanders defense played a little bit lackluster as opposed to the Eagles defense, which actually showed up. And Saquon Barkley is everything that they said he was. But this game really came down to whoever made the least amount of mistakes, and it just happened that the Eagles made the least amount of mistakes, and they pulled it out. The Texans versus the Cowboys. The Texans win 34-10. This is a battle. This is everybody was waiting for this game. This is This was a battle of Texas. From the start, C.J. Stroud and Mixon and that wide receiver core they were just too much, man. And you think about Dallas, more QB, more quarterback trouble. As we know, Trey Lance was not it. Cooper Rush, they played horrible. He didn't play bad. It was just the simple fact that him and CeeDee Lamb were the only ones playing. It was like they was the only two on offense playing against a team of 11 cats on defense, and it just couldn't happen, man. Defense played all right, man, but it's just their Cowboys defense played all right, but it just wasn't enough. I think when your defense, is okay, and your offense is doing good, it's hard to tell that your defense is just okay. But when your offense is at a standstill, if your defense is just okay, it's going to look worse because you're going to be on the field more. So yeah, man, the Texans beat the Cowboys 34-10. The Bengals lose to the Chargers 34-27. Jim Harbaugh is he puts teams together that are explosive, young, they're cohesive. They wanted it more, man. The Chargers can play. I said this week one, man. I told you that the Chargers, Harbaugh, the Harbaugh brothers are great, and Jim knows what he's doing, man. He knows what he's doing. He's been around his game for a minute. He has a nose for this game, and he knows how to put people in the right places. And he's loyal. I was a fan of his at the beginning of the season when he offered Colin Kaepernick a job. You know what I mean? I think that a guy that got railroaded like that took so much criticism like that, to stand with him could mean career suicide, but he stood with him anyway. And I have a real I salute people who stand with people who are getting knocked around. I salute that because so many people jump ship so quick all the time, and that's the norm. So I got to take my hat off to Jim Harbaugh for standing in with this young team, standing in with Colin Kaepernick, and also holding on to beat a really good Bengals team. After the game, Jamar Chase, superstar wide receiver for the Bengals, was like, "Yo, I just play the game. I don't make the calls." And I thought, I was like, what is this about? I was like, is this about his performance? You know what I mean? Is it about the money, or is it about throwing his quarterback under the bus? And I was trying to figure out where he was coming from. And I think really what this is about. The other thing was he didn't get paid either. He should have. The boy deserves the money. I can't even front. He deserves the money, but he didn't get it. We're past that, and he's got a lot. He's got a lot to say. Again, the comment was like, "Look, we should be winning these games, but I don't make the plays. I don't call the plays, and I just play the game, and I'm doing my job." And I think that attitude, first of all, that attitude is really divisive. You know what I'm saying? So that's the number one problem. Secondly, he's implying that it's either the coach's fault or the quarterback's fault. Again, more divisiveness. This is not something that they need in their locker room. They're not that bad of a team. But when you start getting cracks in your foundation, like statements like this shit, they start as fissures, and then they go to and then a fissure is a little line through a foundation, and then they start to grow the cracks because of conversations like this. Loose lips sink ships. If you get your ass whooped, get your ass whooped with your boys, with your team, with the cats you came with, and be quiet. Save all the talking and save all the riffraff and all the chatty patty stuff. Keep it out of the media so you can keep your thing tight. You got a problem, take it up with your brother, take it up with your teammate, take it up with your coach inside the confines of your camp. Again, loose lips sink ships. We've seen that time and time again. It never fails. Chiefs lose to the Bills. This was a really good game, man. But Josh Allen, man, and those blue collar Bills. Josh Allen is the best QB in the league right now. Again, and the only person I'm gonna put beside him is Geno Smith, and that's for personal reasons. But You know, the Bills are a blue collar team. They're playing like it. Again, shout out to Buffalo, hard working city, um, hard working fan base, and they deserve this. You know what I mean? We talk about those 4 losses that they had back to back to back to back to back at the Super Bowl were just horrendous, and this fan base deserves more. So I'm glad to see that the Bills are doing what they're supposed to be doing and doing as well as what they were predicted to do. Um, Again, Bills over Chiefs, 30-21, which means that the Chiefs are no longer undefeated. The Falcons, the Falcons lose to the Broncos. Well, this is uncharacteristic of the Falcons. It was a home game. It's uncharacteristic of the Falcons. Um, I just think that they were asleep at the wheel. I really expected more from Kirk Cousins and those guys, but I think they've been having a lot of tight matchups, and I think they were just asleep at the wheel. I think that if you look at the numbers between the lines and between the numbers, these two teams are really similar. I think what made the difference here is Bo Nix, and let's not forget, man, Bo Nix. We talk about him this being his first year in the NFL, but you got to remember he's like 25 or 26 years old. He's not a young rookie NFL, a real rookie like 22, 20, 23, like most rookies are. 21 even. He came into the league after a couple of redshirt years in college. So he's a grown man. So when you think about him playing the game, think about him in the mind of a 26-year-old. By the time you're 26 in the league, you got a couple years in. You got some reps and some snaps in, and you know how to play the game. So I think that makes his rookie year, which is this year that he's 26, I think is working a little smoother. I said that they would hit a couple speed bumps. They still have a couple speed bumps to hit, but they're doing pretty good. They're starting to come together. But I think the Broncos are getting better, man. I definitely like their defense. That secondary is outrageous. But and another thing with me, I love Troy Franklin, the wide receiver. He's pretty good. And again, I said this, and two things. I said this at the beginning of the season when they played the Seahawks, first game of the season. I knew Bo Nix would struggle, but I was impressed with that wide receiver core in Denver from the start. The Seattle defense in week 1 was stretched very thin by them. And I said if they can stretch this Seattle defense, which is pretty damn good, if they can stretch the Seattle secondary, they're gonna make some noise. So that's what they're doing. Broncos over the Falcons, 38-6. The Seahawks beat the 49ers 20-17. This is a tough, really, really tough NFC West divisional rivalry, divisional matchup. I knew it was going to be close. It was too close for me. But I'm really proud of my Seahawks, man. It was a really tough game, tight game, all the way down the stretch. The Seahawks made some mistakes that we thought we wouldn't see from them, and we thought that it would be another Seahawks loss to the 49ers, and the 49ers would take this series this year. But Geno Smith led the Seahawks down the field on an excellent drive, and then he took it in. He didn't rely on his arm, which he had done the majority of the drive, but he relied on his legs. When you think of Geno Smith, man, you think about the thing he said when he first solidified his spot against Russell Wilson when he was playing for the Broncos at the first game last year. He said, "Man, they wrote me off, but I didn't write back." And I think that's some of the hard. I love this for him. It's so defiant. It's so hard. You know what I'm saying? Pause. I just feel like it's a big slap in the face to everybody that said you couldn't do it or you wouldn't do it or they down talked you or they downplayed you. Anybody who's ever had a second chance, anybody who's ever been drugged against the rocks, anybody who's ever been stoned to death, anybody who, they threw rocks at the Lord, baby. So how much smaller are we that we won't get criticized and we won't get stoned either? And the same thing happened to him. And I'm really happy that he put his nose to the grindstone and won this game for them. And he's been winning, and he's got these Seahawks fans really excited. He's got these Seahawks believing in him, so I'm happy for him. The Steelers beat the Ravens 18-16 on a last-minute toss from Russell Wilson to George Pickens. Russell Wilson and George Pickens have been making a hell of a team. Um, I knew this. I knew what this was going to be. Listen, I'm gonna say this. I really love these receivers. Pickens, Freiermuth. There's a couple of other guys. Their name escaped me right now, but I said that it would be the Seahawks and the Steelers in the Super Bowl, just like it was 10 years ago, and I'm standing on that. I just think Russell Wilson, and I like that defense too because they can get to the quarterback, which is exactly what you're going to need to be able to do if you play somebody like, they're like one of the only teams that can get to your quarterback no matter who he is, which is like the way you beat the Chiefs if you're going to beat them at all, right? They have that aspect, but I think the big thing for me is that Russ is playing like a man that won't be denied, man. You know, it's something about redemption. It's something about being dragged through the dirt. It's something about being about when people talk about your family and they talk about things that are personal to you. When you lose somebody special in your family, everything screams. My back is to the wall. There is no. I'm at my basement. I'm at my floor. I can't get any lower. So everything I do now is positive because it's up. Because I can't get any lower. And I think that's the case for Russell Wilson. Anyway, Steelers over the Ravens by 2. The Rams beat the Patriots. Kyron Williams, man, he's a hell of a running back, man. And let's not forget, man, Matt Stafford, man, he's one of the great. This Rams team has a lot of weapons, man. And on any given Sunday, they can beat you with them. Matt Stafford, he's still got, a legend, he's still got a Hall of Fame arm. Tutu Atwell still catching the ball. You got Cooper Kupp. You got Kyron Williams running out the backfield. But on the flip side of this coin, you have a transition being made in with the Patriots. Jacoby Brissett is now no longer the starter now. They look very comfortable with Drake May, the rookie from North Carolina, and so we're gonna have to see what they do. As far as QB, as far as even though they lost this game, and again I've been liking the Patriots since week 1. It's like they don't like themselves. You know what I mean? It's like they have the pieces and they started this season, to me, and NFL purists all over. They started this season as if they had a new culture going on there, and I still think they do, but I think they just were missing one or two pieces at that in offense. And I think even though they weren't missing big pieces, when they started to stumble at the quarterback position, they started to have doubts. When they started to lose, they started to have doubts. And when you're in a mind state like that and you're in a position like that, you need people to tell you that it's going to be okay. Just continue to stay the course. Just trust the process. It'll be better. But instead, if you're not mentally stable like that, if you're not a mental if you don't have a mental fortitude that says it's going to be all right, let's fight another day. Let's take 3 steps in a cloud of dust and 3 yards in a cloud of dust and get a first down. If you don't understand the importance of small victories, it can be tough to lose. And I think that they just didn't have anybody around them that understood that you have to take the bitter with the sweet, the good with the bad. So I still like them. I'm not really sold on Drake May, even though that organization, that franchise, and that fan base seems to be. I feel like he's a better fit because he's a bigger quarterback. He slows the offense down, which is good for them. Apparently, we didn't think that early on, but apparently that's good for them. So I'm just, even though they lose this game 28-22 to the Rams, I'm psyched to see what they do next. The Lions beat the Jaguars, and you know what? Nothing went right for the Jaguars. Nothing has really been going right all season. They paid Trevor Lawrence a lot of money to be an absolute trash bag, and so it's hard for me to really even talk about the Jaguars. But since I'm in this seat, I have to remain objective and I have to tell the truth. I have to talk about them. Mac Jones is now the starter because Trevor Lawrence is hurt. Thank God. Not thank God that he's hurt, but thank God that he's out the way so he can stop fucking it up for the rest of these niggas who's really trying to win. But other than that, this was a feast, man. Nothing went right. The Lions really just feasted on the Jaguars, just like a lot of other people have been doing. Lions over the Jaguars 52-6. The Packers beat the Bears by 1. This was a crazy game. They lost by a blocked field goal, which would have gave them the win. The thing about the Packers, I love the fact that the Packers play safe. I love Christian Watson and what he's doing. Josh Jacobs, just all of those guys, man. I really like this game. This was a game. Packers Bears rivalry is already good, but when you got two young quarterbacks playing like this, again, it comes down to who wants it more and who makes the least amount of mistakes. Both of these quarterbacks played really good. I think there was, you know, it, and this is rare, but I think this game really came down to that field goal kick. When you lose on a blocked field goal, my Seahawks lost on a blocked field goal a couple of weeks ago, and it was you almost would rather get blown out because then you can start planning shit to do after. You can start at halftime, second quarter planning shit to do because these cats is not going to be around third, fourth quarter. You know the game is over. But when the team you love, and this is the sucky part about being a fan, the team you love is taking you down to the wire, and then they put you right. It's 4 seconds left. They got a chip shot field goal, and it gets blocked. You're 2 seconds from having a heart attack or sniffing a line of coke. I don't know, whatever. Pick your poison. But a lot of people, had some coronaries on this. This is, Bears fans and are really legendary. It's a really legendary fan base, really legendary city. They got a good team this year. I wouldn't call them a really good team, but they got a good team this year. They've been through a lot of ups and downs. This was another one. But it was a really good game. It just came down to a block field goal, and I think no one game, and I would be a clown to say this, and NFL peers, football peers can tell you this, but no one game comes down to one play. But if there was ever a game that came down to one play, it's this game. Again, Packers over the Bears, 20-19. The Vikings beat the Titans, 23-13. They were supposed to win this game. Sam Darnold just played. He just really played it safe and used the weapons that he had around him. He really didn't even use Justin Jefferson this game, which is scary because now he's got a lot of. Justin Jefferson has a lot of momentum and energy to work out Paul's next game. So he's gonna be dangerous. But he tossed it around to everybody. Addison, the running back played really good. The Titans, man, Will Levis. I'm surprised that he's still even playing in the NFL, man. He's just really been horrendous, and it's the NFL. So even the trashiest cat in the NFL is probably better than a local cat that or some cats we know. But I've been really struggling with as I'm sure the Tennessee fan base and organization is, because for so many years we've known that as Steve McNair's town, right? And then so for so many years we've known it as, really we've only known Steve McNair. Vince Young had a small stay there, but it wasn't enough to it wasn't enough to wet our whistles, and it just left us hungry for more. And then Tannehill came, and then Tannehill gave these Tennessee Titan fans hope, and now he's gone. Nobody knows where he's at. They got Will Levis starting. He looks like a walking headshot. He just looks like a model in a uniform, and he's making rookie mistake after rookie mistake week in and week out. I just feel like that should sit him down for the rest of the season because he's a bum. Vikings over Titans 23-13. Colts over Jets 28-27. We're at this point. Well, first of all, let's start with what did work. The Colts won. Anthony Richardson's back. If you remember, the country, the sports world in general, and NFL Pearson said it was over for him because he raised his hand and told his whole team in the heat of the battle, look, I'm tired. I'm about to sit down. He got destroyed from news and media outlets all over, sports news media outlets all over America, and I'm sure all over anywhere they watch football. As you can recall, I was one of the people that kind of played the devil's advocate and said, yes, this is a really bad business decision doing this, but at the same time, personal decisions and business decisions don't always go hand in hand. So I'm here to say, whatever was said about Anthony Richardson, whatever he had to do to not be tired no more, he's not tired no more. He's back whooping ass, and he started out with Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. Um, they it looks really bad for Aaron Rodgers, man. He's looking, and I'm gonna say this, man, and you know, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say this with and I'm gonna say it's realest. I'm gonna say the realest shit in the world. We want to see Aaron Rodgers win, but Aaron Rodgers has to want to see Aaron Rodgers win. You know, I mean, it's starting to look like this whole Aaron Rodgers saga has been crazy from the start when he got hurt last year, right? Jets fans said, "All right, well, you know what? At least we know he's doing all right. He's healing already. He's coming back fast. He's Aaron Rodgers. He's the last Jedi. We know what he can do." And for the most part, he's done that this year. But I think his mediocre play spotlights his mediocre play is starting to give way and spotlight things like negative shit he does off the field, how he's an asshole to his teammates and to his coach. You know, all the jerky shit he said about people in the organization, how he's slower now, he's missing a step. His arm is still crazy strong, but he's missing a step, man. His age is showing rapidly for some reason. You know, I don't like this for him because he's a legend. But a big part of me says that a lot of this downfall, not just the losses, but a lot of this whirlwind downfall that he's on is because how he treated other people. And you know, I was always taught that the people you see on the way up is the people you're going to see on the way back down. And I think Aaron Rodgers is taking a little bit of this medicine right now. I was one of those people that thought the Jets would be around, but I'm starting to question whether I thought that they would be around because Aaron Rodgers was the last Jedi and I wanted to see it happen, or because it was or it's because they had the capability of making it happen. I'm starting to question my own judgment because I thought it was because of their capabilities. And I still like their chances. Again, Aaron Rodgers, I'm a believer. Again, Devontae Adams. Again, who's the guy on the other side? I can't think of his name right now. But and then Wilson. I can't think of his first name right now. Pardon me, all you guys on intellectual property land. It's been a long day and I'm a little bit tired and my notes are crappy. And I didn't really think I was going to go in this far on Aaron Rodgers. But like I said, man, I'm not sold on the Jets at 3-7. But I'm under the pretense, however false it may be, I'm under the pretense that these guys are still going to upset some people. So with that being said, I've talked about them enough because they haven't did a lot of things that warrant me talking about them. Anyway, man, the Saints beat the Browns 35-14. You know, I'm going to start with the Saints, man. The Saints were supposed to win this game. They were supposed to win this game. I'm not impressed. They've really been stinking up the place. And I'm talking about given the talent that they have, right? They started the season great, then they went on a skid. Then they made a bounce up, made a bounce down, made a bounce up, made a bounce down. This is just a bounce up. And then they beat the Browns. They're supposed to win this game. I'm not going to act like, am I sold on these niggas? No. Last week they lost to the fucking Carolina Panthers, so we're not going to front like we didn't see that. Do I like their talent? Yes. Am I sure that they can play together? No. As far as the Browns go, I mean, they're trying, man. If you don't have there's a mental capacity and there's a mental fortitude that it takes to fight an uphill battle. And they're doing that. But, you know, it gets difficult. And I think you got to be easy when you talk about the Browns because they go through a shift mid-season. Not only the shift doesn't look that great, but it's a shift in the other direction, no less. And they're trying. You know what I mean? They're 1-2 under this new shift, and I think they've took enough kicks in the ass and kicks in the head today, inside the national media and outside, that they don't need another one from me. but I like that they're still playing and they're still trying. You know, it takes a lot for somebody for it to be pointless, and you fight. You know what I mean? That's the old adage. It's like the old adage. When things are good, everybody's cheering and hollering, everybody's screaming and praising God, and everybody's saying yay, yay, yay. But when things are bad, that's when your biggest growth and development happens, man. So I like what they're doing. You know, they're owning their mess, they're sitting in it, and they're fighting hard, and I like that. So shout out to the Cleveland Browns, even though they got their ass whooped 35-14 by the Saints. You know, dying is a waste. Dying is wasteful, man. Live, you know what I mean? Dying depletes the world of the few warriors that God gives us while leaving a hole in the heart of the survivor. So make sure you're living out there, all right? Also, if you don't like something, then change it. If you can't change it, then change your attitude, man. Shit, you know what I mean? If you don't like something, then change it. If you can't change it, then change your fucking attitude, man. Yo, good morning, good afternoon, good night. It's been another episode of the Intellectual Property Podcast. Once again, I'm your host, Reggie the CEO, episode 10, man. You know what time it is. I'm here, man. It's always funny until somebody gets hurt, then it's fucking hilarious. Failure, doubt kills dreams faster than failure. And it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice, man. No matter where you're at in the world, man, thanks for hanging out with me. I'll see you guys tomorrow, man. Shout out to everybody out there. I love you guys. Love yourself and love on your neighbors and love everybody around you, man. I'll see you guys later. Peace.
Okay. Whoever got the most ratchets is in power. I'd rather get sent packages than send flowers. I can't understand how the game allow it. Nigga that'll pop and tail's a dangerous coward. Fuck it, if we gotta go to war, then get shells. If anybody happen to get caught, pick 12. Some niggas will look at their royalties and faint. Money always gonna be here, but the loyalty ain't. I dives on the quarter, high rise on the water. People tell me I got the same eyes as my daughter. They expecting the hard shit, you give them a slow jam. My man lost his date cause he didn't want a program. Niggas keep it up, everybody gon' suffer though. I got a revolver that'll knock down a buffalo. Switch from the denim with the zippers to the buttons though. NYC without me is nothing no. In a minute it should be back here, and I'll be in the front and y'all'll be right back there. Like if G Money never showed Nino the crack, probably never would've been a new city to jack. Now say this to say that, what's up? Situate properly, cause either you getting buried or putting up your property.